Hello there. Welcome to the Identity Podcast brought to you by Find Your ID NYC. It is a wonderful, wonderful opportunity to be here yet again for a very special show. Not only is it our final episode for the month of February, but it is also our episode where we get to sit back and we get to talk and really show the importance and also reflect on everything that is in the month of February, and that is Black History Month. So I'm very excited to be able to do this, but let me go ahead and introduce my co-host, Tarik.
What's
Tarik,
up,
how's it going?
everyone? We're doing well. We're doing well. Happy, everyone, to this February, this year. We just see such great things coming in. So I miss y'all. I hope everything's doing well. Let's jump right into it. Happy Black History Month, Caleb, of course, and all this fun stuff. We're gonna just run right into topics. We do a little bit of recap of just some of the things that we've been doing about climate change. I know that it's been very heavy on the environment and all that stuff, but we want to take this episode to dedicate something great. I'm sorry, it's kind of at the end of the episode, but this is the end of the month, but it's well worth it. So, man. So, without further ado, right? But
go ahead. No, go ahead.
No, you go.
I want you.
You want me to do the thing?
I want you to do it. It's your guest.
Right, indeed. Right. So I was going to start off with that. So without further ado, we're going to bring on Minister Kwame Thompson. So everybody just clap it up, clap it up, clap it up. Yes. Appreciate it, man. Oh, wow. We're so happy to have you, man.
Pleasure to be here, man.
Oh, God. What a great day. So, how's your day going so far?
Busy, productive. I'm present.
Exactly. Yeah, we're all here. We're here. That's what matters, man. So, I just, before we go into his bio and the amazing things that Kwame has done, I wanted to just talk a little bit about Black History Month and just kind of like the origins of it. I don't know if anybody really knows or whatever, but I think it'd be a great informational thing. Mm-hmm. So from what I've gathered, Black History Month originally was called the Negro History Week. It actually grew from a week into an entire month at some point. It was by this historian in the 1920s. Shout out to the Roaring 20s. We're going through that full cycle again, economically and a bunch of other ways, how progressive we are. And I'm sure Minister Kwame is going to talk about some stuff that he's doing. And yeah, it's just phenomenal stuff. So, and, Caleb and I have some stuff brewing as well. So, this is a time to be progressive and make change. I don't know what it is about the 20s and the thousands of the 20s, but this is our time. So Carter G. Woodson, if you guys want to check out that historian, he was the one that was like made sure that this was something that was done. So President Ford, my fault. And in 1967 was the one that actually made this a full month. So a lot of people don't know that. Shout out to President Ford for that as well. It's supposed to be coinciding with Frederick Douglass and Abraham Lincoln's birthday. Well, somewhere around there is Black History Month. So that's all, that little tidbit there. And then I'm going to read off some notable mentions this year that have done some great things. We have Kamala Harris, of course. Obviously, shout out to her, first Black female vice president. Rosalind Brewer, she is Walgreens' next CEO and the only Black woman to currently lead a Fortune 500 company. So shout out to her. Let's talk about notable mentions. We have Dr. Kizmika S. Corbett, lead scientist on the Moderna COVID-19. So shout out to her essential work that she's been doing. Victor J. Glover, first Black astronaut to live and work in International Space Station. And the list goes on. Oh, and my favorite, Amanda Gorman, 22, youngest inaugural poet in U.S. history. So we setting that bar there, man. Obviously, Raphael Warnock, who changed the world with his recent Black vote and him changing stuff for Georgia. Rashida Jones, MSNBC president, first Black executive. And the list goes on. We're just like racking them up. But shout out to our women, first of all, who are leading the forefront of all this. And this is just like unprecedented, like at some point that, we've had these ideals of what culture is and what society has put us into in terms of being a male as a protector, provider, and all these bigger P's. But some of y'all women are protecting and providing. So shout out to that.
Absolutely.
And I appreciate that, man. And I appreciate all the people involved. So yeah, Corey Bush, check her out. I mean, these are notable things, but I don't want to hold us up too long. So jumping in, and of course, Minister Kwame Thompson. Yes, man. So let's tell me a little about yourself, man, and what brings you to the show. And I know you just to give him a little background. If I'm talking over him or whatever, just trying to give him a little bit of a break because he literally just got out of a prayer for about an hour
Absolutely.
with his group. And yeah, talk us a little about that and how that got started.
First of all, before I talk, I always had to say praise him. Right? We got to give God what's due him. And it's interesting, Tarik, that you're doing this podcast with Caleb, and being a prominent person in the Bible. You got good company right there with Caleb, right? Caleb and Joshua, man, they wasn't afraid of no giants. They said we can take them when they went to spy the land, the promised land. So you wearing a powerful name there, man.
True. Thank you.
So just a little bit about myself, man. Born and raised right here in the Bronx, Soundview Projects. A minister, entrepreneur, visionary, big dreamer. And before I go, just want to touch what you were saying about Black History Month, and two things I wanted to share because I just want to share it with your audience. From as long as I can remember, two things that was in my house that stood out was Martin Luther King and Kennedy in my house, and then outside of that with Malcolm X and being at his Black History Month, and the quotes that was under the pictures. I just want to touch on that just for a brief minute. Martin Luther King, I have a dream, right? I used to always look at that when I was young and was like powerful. Yeah, I have a dream. And Malcolm X, by any means necessary. But as I grew up, I realized those statements by themselves do more harm than good. Because we want to raise the point with our especially with our youth, that don't just stop at the dream, right? You have to put some effort, some discipline, some work to make that dream become a reality. And with Malcolm X, by any means necessary, if you just leave that like that, it means that we can do whatever to whoever, and it's okay. So even with those statements, it's something I grew up with, and I learned to kind of like go further with it. So I don't want to just say Martin Luther King, I have a dream, but get up and make that dream a reality. Put the work in, right? And with any means necessary, doesn't mean that you could just do whatever to whoever and it's okay, right? It has to be some kind of guidelines. So I just want to touch that since we was going into Black History Month, because that's something that I grew up with and something that always stood out in my mind. And I said, man, we got to do something about that. So anytime I go somewhere and they ask me to speak about Black history, I like to point that out. Two powerful men in our history, and I don't want their words to just be limited to that one phrase when it's so much bigger. So I just wanted to share that.
True. Yeah, I can touch on that.
Yeah. So for myself, my day-to-day job, I work for an organization which is a SNUG program, which is Guns in Reverse, called SUV, Stand Up to Violence, and it's an anti-gun violence initiative. And our goal is to reduce the shootings and homicide in our communities. And the way we do it is by working with the highest risk individuals, most likely to shoot someone or be shot. And the way we do it is by mediations. And we do it in communities where it was a lot of gun violence, and we actually hire people from the community, which I love, that was actually involved with the street life on some levels, influences that turn their lives away and still can reach the youth and do mediation so we can help reduce the shootings and homicides in communities. So that's my 9 to 5. That's what I do on a day-to-day. I supervise that. But also I have a non-for-profit called Power Purpose, where we mentor at-risk youth, high-risk youth, and court-involved youth. And we mentor them on different levels. We have like a 3-tier mentoring program where we have the everyday mentor, the people you see in the community, your neighbor. And then we have like credible messengers, right? These are guys that were out there, right? And they turned their lives around, and they're helping to help our young people navigate through different life situations. And then we have a celebrity level of mentoring, where we have that celebrity that the youth is looking up to and have them share and mentor our youth as well. But also I want to touch on credible messengers and what that really means. And I want us to put more emphasis. It doesn't mean just someone that was in the street, came home from jail, and they turned their lives around. But you have to really be credible to the message that we're presenting, right? And the main part of that message is change, right? That you can do this and give hope that you can stop living a certain way and turn your life around. And you have to be credible to present that message. It's not just, oh, they was an influencer in the hood, they was a gangster, they was this, and then now we just want to bring them in. Now you have to really be credible to the message that we're getting out to the youth. So if we're saying put down the gun, if we're saying you can change your life, you have to be able to identify with that and be really about that. So I'm really big on that, picking the right credible messages for the message that we want to get across. So I have power of purpose. And also I just did something that I'm really, really proud of. And, me and two of my partners called The Hard Truth. And what The Hard Truth is, we pretty much is what it says. We like to say our phrase is what you need to hear, but don't want to hear. Right? That's the hard truth. And how many times have someone given you the hard truth and you didn't want to hear it? You're like, I don't want to hear that. But when it really resonates, you're like, I really need to hear that. Right. So that's where we came up with The Hard Truth. But what we're doing with the program, we have the anti-gun violence programs, and we're telling the youth, put the guns down. And I realize if you tell them to put the gun down, what are you giving them to pick up? What are we giving them to move forward with, right? So what the hard truth is, we decided one way to help our community is by we're helping our community, building it up one brand at a time. So with the hard truth, we're pretty much building brands, right? It's like brand management, but we're trying to teach our young people, our youth in the community, how to start it from scratch, from an idea and putting together from A to Z. And we work with them to build their brands. And we really got a couple of brands underneath us. It's starting off pretty good. We're looking forward to it growing and reaching out to more youth. I know you have a video. If you want to present that now, we can probably put that in, and then I can go further and talk a little bit more about it.
Sure. Let's cue it up. Yeah, man, we got a lot to talk about, man.
Let's do
he
it,
said
man.
some cool
here,
stuff.
Man.
Yeah, he said some cool stuff. I took some notes. I was gonna say for sure.
Dope.
Yeah, man. But just for all those listening out there, because we also have some people that are in Cali and some people in Ireland. Nice. So there's some people all over that are gonna hear this for sure.
Beautiful.
There's actually a comment that came up for all those while Caleb gets this all ready. Shout out to Janet Allen Kelch. Is that your mom? I think that's your mom. Okay. Regardless, she says she absolutely loves. Yeah, exactly. She says she absolutely loves the concept of credible mentors. So we're gonna jump into that too, so that we can start to talk to our people. But while he's still getting this ready, I actually wanted to know. No, not yet. It's not shared yet.
Can you see it now?
There you go.
There we
go. Yep. There you go.
All right.
Full screen that bad boy.
Yep.
Yeah.
Maybe. There we
awesome.
Partner came up to me with this idea. It don't make sense.
There's a lot of hard pills to swallow about the world and how things are. So basically, I'm just trying to give people a distraction, something that they could just look forward to.
Truth is hard. You feel me? Like growing up over here, it's crazy. A lot of people don't make it. A lot of people don't make it out. We're young, we're trying to make it out. You feel me?
Build brands, lift the community. We're gonna give you a chance. We're gonna give you opportunity.
Will Tracks, the voice of all cities. Shine a light on them. Let me see some footwork. Every day in life, steps to be successful. If you want it, you gotta go get it. That's just the truth. The hard truth.
Give me mine. Crazy.
See, the hard truth is hard for people to believe in themselves. They believe in other people instead of themselves. You're the controller of your life. You know what I'm saying? If you God, anything is possible.
The hard truth mean a lot to me. They helped me start a clothing line with my friends. We trying to get out of here, do what we have to do. All the negativity we trying to get away from, we here. We just trying to get everything together and just change the life around.
My name is, and I am, Kill Bill. And we are in Bronx River, USA. Yeah, baby girl. Home of hip hop, among things.
Now, put your feet back a little bit more, Marquise. A little bit more money.
We're going down. Ready? We're going, yo, listen, we're going down. Listen to me. Every time we get down, we telling our mind, get right back up. You understand? Go down slow. We control our minds. There's a direct correlation between our minds and our bodies. We develop mindsets on a whim, actually. You know what you got to do. I need you on push-ups, you on dips. All right? Come here, you over here. There's a negative stigma about receiving help for mental health issues. And we found that through physical fitness, regular training, we can correct those issues. The pain is a prerequisite. You know what the prerequisite is? The pain comes before the success. So you gotta push through that pain. Use your mind. Use your mind to push through the pain. Mindsets. It's in your mind. You control it.
The hard truth. What is the hard truth? The hard truth is what you need to hear, but don't want to hear. The hard truth for me and my partners decided to put this company together that will spark change, thought, and critical thinking. The hard truth. Our mission is build our community up, one brand at a time.
Most of the people that tell me they want to work or they want to start a logo, a lot of the times they don't have the idea of what they want to do. What I like to do is send them something that they don't like. Hey, here you go. Do you like this? Most of the time they see it and the first thing they go is, no, I don't. Then they sit there and go, being that I don't like that, this is what I want to change. As long as we're in the right path, we're going through the right direction, we're off to the races.
Vaginas on Pedestals is to start sex education group for women to learn their bodies, things like that. I lost a lot of stuff, right? So what I have to do now is redesign everything. Then the next step would be to find a manufacturer. Even though I sew, I don't want to have that whole responsibility for myself because I'm doing so much other things.
Every teenager is different, but the teenagers I'm normally surrounded around, they like stuff like these, like bubble coats and a lot of colors.
Generally, I can start an entire brand in 7 hours. That's from start to finish. Logo, production, and ready for sale online.
As far as coming to the hard truth, I don't have to do everything alone. And I do have people to help.
Yo, remember when Sean made that video about the Hard Truth clothing line? Yeah. Yeah. I really miss that kid, bro.
I miss him too.
Yeah, bro. He always had good ideas. He was
motivational.
was smart, bro.
And he was a good motivator too.
But you know what's crazy though? I'm not even sad about it.
Why not?
Yo, lately, I've always just been thinking about what would Sha do if it was one of us.
If it was one of us, he'd just turn his pain into power. And never let it hurt him.
Yeah, it's a fact. All we need is a little more motivation, bro. We could take over the whole city with the clothing line, the whole world. It's more to this clothing line than we think, bro. It's a message behind us. That's why Sha cared about it so much.
Turn your pain into power. That's what we could do now.
And build the label.
I miss my son. My son's supposed to be here. These are all his friends that he really trusts and have faith in. He had a daughter. She's 4 months old. Her name is Legacy. We're going to continue on his legacy to make sure she's fine.
He wanted us to launch this so we could get out. We wanted to get out of this. Pain to power. Man, from where we come from, pain to power, we really feel like, man, it's going to go a long way, man. We still keeping it running. You're not here, but your mom out here, we all out here still thinking about you every day, you know what I'm saying?
So they standing through their pain and we turn it into power. We're looking forward to launching this 2021. So we standing firm. So Shaquan's death will never be in vain. His name will continue to live on. His legacy will continue to live on. His daughter will grow up and have something to be proud about and look to and say, listen, my father was a part of this. He started something that's special, helping lives of many in our community. So it's a staying focused, building up our community, one brand at a time. And this is one of the brands, Pain to Power. Look forward to us in 2021.
Beautiful, beautiful. Nice. Yeah, before we jump in, let's throw up some of those comments so that people can see how they feel about it. But I mean, phenomenal. I'm like literally want to take a breath for what's been going on. I think I made a mistake by not saying their names, and I know this is like a trending thing right now. I think it hits home when it's closer to the people that you love and stuff. So, you know, all those that have lost their lives due to gun violence, as well as just, you know, police violence or all sorts of other stuff along that way, you know, due to the racism and stuff that has been going on. We'll just take a moment of silence for them and for his name. Thanks, guys. Wow. What a powerful video, man. You know, it's funny. I saw parts of it. You sent me only parts of it before. I've never seen the whole thing together. I figured I'd watch it while you were here. So this is the first time I'm actually seeing it.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So that's why, you know, none of this is rehearsed at all, you know. So I just wanted to make sure I appreciate it. Caleb got a chance to look at it. He was like, it's awesome. I was like, all right, that's good.
Thank you, man.
But man, where you want to start? You want to start with your life or how you've changed others? You know, Kwame is so you do so much.
I mean, I can just give you background of my life and why a lot of this is so important. And where you seen in the video, that's where I'm at right now in Soundview. That's where I was born and raised. So my life journey, far as going off of the direction which my mom desired for me, was when I was 11. 11 years old was the first time I actually held a gun in my hand. And I just always tell a story how I was home asleep, and my father, my biological father, and my mother, they were married. They were separated, but he would come over. Him and my stepfather had a great relationship, and he would come over and spend the night. He'll stay with me in my room. And he came in one day, and he thought I was asleep, so he took out a gun and put it in the drawer. And I remember saying, I couldn't wait till he went to sleep so I can get up and go grab it. And I told this story like that for years. And then a few years back, I was at church giving a testimony and sharing it, and my mother was there. And after service, she pulled me to the side. She said, "You really don't remember?" And I said, "What do you mean?" She said, "You really don't remember? He didn't put the gun in the drawer. He gave you the gun to put up." And I said, wow. When she said it, I remembered it. And because I loved him so much, I never wanted to identify with the man that I love, my father, being the one to introduce me to a gun. You know, my first introduction to a gun being from my father. So I actually changed the whole reality in my brain. And I'm learning now that that's a form of trauma and how we protect ourselves from things like that. And I really believe that that was my reality. And so that was my first introduction to a gun. A year later, my father died when I was 12. He died for natural causes. And at that point is when I started venturing out into the world, you know, into the life. So early on, my life took an early turn. By 14, 15, I was going in and out of state, selling drugs, you know, very violent beginning. So, you know, it continued for years of my life, me and my crew. We tried to make a change and leave the streets in the 90s. One of my partners was introducing us to music. Really gifted, talented guy named Minnesota. Produced from everybody from Mos Def, Biggie, Kim, everyone. Wow. And he introduced us to it. I remember the first beat he did was for the Fruit Snickers. And yeah, word. He sold the beat for $15 The group called the Fruit Snickers. And that's when it hit me like this music thing is for real. Wait, we can get some money. So we started pouring all our energy into this. And moving forward later on, like late 90s, we actually got signed. We had a group called Money Boss Players. I was the founder of the group. I actually got the name from one of my uncles. He had been doing time. When I was born, he was in jail. He came out when I was 17. And I remember I used to stay between his at my mom's or at Forest at my grandmother's house. And I used to have all my clothes over and everything. He came home from jail and I had all these sneakers lined up and clothes. And he said, man, look at you, man. You a Money Boss player, huh? And that's the first time I ever heard it. I said, yo, I like that. And that's how we took the name Money Boss Players. So eventually we got signed. We got signed to Quincy Jones, actually, to Quest Records. He had a record deal. Trying to make the transition out of the streets. But at that particular time, everyone in the streets were coming into the industry. So it was becoming just like we were still in the same element.
Right.
Then we had a big federal indictment over here. And one of my little cousins named Petey Rollout, Pistol Pete, the head of Sex Money Murder at the time, there was a big federal indictment. And because we were all connected, the record label actually got visited by the police, the feds, the hip-hop police, everyone questioned it. So it kind of spooked them. And the record never came out. They actually shelved the project. We had recorded over $1 million worth of material. And the project never came out. So that was like my transition from the streets into the music. And then later on, eventually in 2001, Father's Day, walked into the church. And that's when I changed my life for Christ. So, you know, pretty much looking back at my life, we navigated through a lot of things, a lot of trauma, a lot of different situations. So I moved away from here for a while, and I actually returned. And God just put it on my heart to, you know, use my experiences and the things I went through in my life and use it to help the youth not make the same mistakes and give them some hope that they can do other things than just, you know, what was presented in a negative way in our communities, whether that being, you know, drug selling and violence and things of that nature, and just not even understanding your value of who you are and the value of the people around you, you know. So it just became, you know, something that I was driven to do in any way. So I started working in the community center over here. So I was able to run the night center in the weekends and really start tapping into the youth and talking to them and listening to them and finding ways where I can help them out. So that's just pretty much been my life's work. It's something that chose me. And by the grace of God, I've been able to really reach some of the youth and prevent them from making some mistakes that, you know, could have led them to jail or a grave. Unfortunately, we wasn't able to lose a lot. Like in the video, it's my nephew, Shaquan. And that really hurt because we really had him like really moving forward. And unfortunately, you know, his life was taken from him. He was murdered right up the block on a block day before his baby shower, his firstborn child, his birthday. You know, it was just real tragic. But what came out of that, so his death wasn't in vain. Him and the two guys that I'm standing with in the video, them three I was working with to build their clothing line. And I kept telling them we need a name so we could start getting on it. And they kept coming up with these different names that just wasn't ringing. And then he came up with that name. He was like Pain to Power. And I'm like, I'm like, that just hit me.
It hit,
right?
word.
It just hit me. And all of us just looked and they started laughing like, wow, we got it. So we got the name and we say we're going to start running with it. Unfortunately, not too long after that, he was murdered. And then it gave the name, it gave it more meaning because now all this pain that we was feeling, we was able to turn it into power and use it to do something productive and something that we can, you know, remember him by. And even his daughter's name, his firstborn child, his daughter, her name is Legacy. That's like, wow, like, you know, he's not here, but God left us some things that we can hold on to and build. Right. So, you know, that's where we at now and what we're doing with the hard truth is so important. Like you've seen in the video, we have different walks. It's not just, you know, just doing clothing lines just for the sake of clothing lines. You know, we have the mindset. Mindset is dealing with, he found a way to mix physical fitness with mental illness, right? And connecting the two where, you know, in our communities, that's like a taboo to get help, you know. It took me up until now, I'm 50 years old, and I'm just going to seek help. I just got diagnosed with PTSD.
Wow.
Right now at 50. So for all these years, I've been just trying to navigate through that on my own. And now going to therapy, right? And I promote it all the time, man. Get the help you need. You know, self-care. So I'm learning that if I would have got help earlier, it's certain decisions and certain things I would have dealt with differently. But dealing with these traumas on top of each other, and that's what we go through a lot of times in our communities, and we don't seek any help. You know, so through this, you know, he's doing a mindset, introducing mental illness and a way to deal with it and embrace it in a whole different way. We have another guy with us, Kimball Water. He's selling water. He has alkaline water and sea moss, and he's bottling it up and he's getting it out. My daughter, clothing line, lived a good life. She's showing the teens, you know, we can enjoy life and not compromise and make it, you know, our behavior have to be that of something that's bad and destructive. We can live a good life and have fun, you know. So putting all these things together We have a couple young people that's doing cooking. We're going to work with them and prepare a recipe book and try to get them to put together videos on cooking for other youth to look at, other teens. So it's just, I realized that we can build up our community one brand at a time. We start bringing value back into the community and the individuals, and it strengthens the community, right? And we start looking at each other different, because now we have a purpose. We're waking up with purpose, and a positive purpose. Like, it's not like when we were coming up earlier, my purpose to wake up was, how I'm gonna get the next dollar, how are we gonna get rid of these drugs, what block we're gonna go on, how are we gonna end this beat. Now it's like you could wake up with something really positive to look forward to do, and you feel good spreading it and talking about it. So that's where we at with the hard truth.
That's beautiful, man. Yeah, I mean, I could chat about that a little bit. That is phenomenal, man. We're just sitting in awe. I mean, I'm sure Caleb's taking some notes and stuff, but man, you take like, I can't imagine anybody better to have on for this particular episode, or just in future we got to bring you back for sure, and check the progress of how this thing is going. But I'm curious that it's hitting so many different things. It's hitting group economics. It's hitting mental illness. It's hitting bringing back to the story that you said as far as the warped reality. Imagine how many people are walking around with that. How many people out there, it's Black History Month, and as a people, you could probably label us all as a PTS. Just be honest, because all the traumas that we've had to endure and move past. But just how everybody's been experiencing this over 2020 and every crash, and especially New York. And I can kind of talk a little more about that. The mass exodus from New York, all the weird stuff that's happened in 2011. Now is our time to inherit, the earth in a sense. And I think that having, like you said, and I actually experienced this on myself, especially with this podcast and now the new stuff that I've been doing, waking up not feeling like you need to survive or work for something, but you're working for something that inside your heart needs to be done, And I want to take a note to what you said earlier. You said that you used to wake up to see, if you can move this, you can move that. But a lot of it was just finding that security. It's like we do these things throughout our day to kind of fill a void. And what ends up happening is like the devil, plays with an empty mind of sorts. And, I think the way you're tackling it is almost the opposite the way that the projects were even created. The low-income housing and putting a bunch of people together with not necessarily the best ideals and thought processes is not great, and that's why Caleb knows I talk about real estate all the time, but that's the game, at the end of the day, that's what ends up happening. That's why certain blocks can't go to certain blocks, or, you've been from this project your whole life, so now you started some sort of beef 2 blocks away. You can't even walk to the train, and I know that's something from your era that a lot more than probably nowadays, but nowadays it's not even about it seems like any sort of street cred or anything. It's just like this life is almost not valuable, and we're here to change that idea. Let's be honest, in all aspects we're here to create and enrich that value. So I appreciate you talking to mental health, even male Black male mental health as well, because that's something that a lot of times we don't really even talk about. But yeah, you want to say something?
That's one of the best investments I made this year.
Really?
To get the help.
Okay.
Literally, because I'm learning so much more about myself. Right? It's incredible. Like it's times where throughout my life, where I'm not sure if it was a reality, did I do this or did I dream this?
I know, man.
So I'm starting to connect the dots more, right? And deal with it from a realistic place and embracing the hurts and the pains of my growing pains, right? So I give you another story that I'm touching on, and I'm actually working on starting my book, and I want to say it here.
Yeah, man.
I speak it, the more it comes into existence. So I started to work on my book, and it's called The Stories of My Life. And I'm just going to talk about different stories of my life. But one of the key things I want to just share real quick about my life, and a lot of us as Black males deal with. When I was younger, we were raised that you couldn't cry. If you cried, you was a punk, you were soft, you wasn't a man. Meanwhile, I'm a boy, I'm a child.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
And you're telling me I can't cry, and I got all these emotions and feelings going on inside of me, and I'm like, I gotta get it out. So I became violent, just to get emotions out. That if I would have just simply cried, would have been enough, right? But the crying would bring so many other negatives to me. So what I did is I had to find a way to cry, and this is one of the chapters in my book that I'm already starting to work on. It's called Dead Cry. The way I got through this is I would go to funerals to cry.
Wow.
I didn't even have to know the people. I would walk up the block from my house to Ortiz funeral, walk into the funeral, sit down with the family, and cry. Because I had to get it out. Anytime someone in my family died, my mom would go to the funeral, I would go with her.
Right.
It was another opportunity to let some emotions out. And I'm talking about from young, you know? So imagine the traumas that we go through as Black men when they're telling us that we can't do something that is so necessary.
And natural.
Right?
Yeah.
Eric Everson, the father of human development, talks about in the early stages, right, from ages from our birth to 1, when a baby cries, we're taught in our households and mostly in the Black communities, I speak from what I know, right? If the baby cried, they said, don't pick that baby up. You're going to spoil him. Not understanding when you don't pick up that child from crying, you're teaching that child that he can't trust the world. That is no one there for them. Right? And this is what we've been going through, like all these different things that are damaging us. No one is teaching us about it. No one's dealing with the trauma, and we worrying why from young we act out certain ways. Right? So these are things that I'm learning that I'm trying to pass on the information, right? Transfer the information to the youth and say, man, it's okay, man.
Right.
You know, that doesn't make you less a man, man. It's okay.
Right.
Let it out. You can cry. And then trying to tell these young parents, pick your child up. Talk to your child, right? It's not all about just being impatient and shut up, I don't want to hear you. All these things are being passed on and they're hurting our communities. It's hurting us as people.
Yeah, you're exactly right. I mean, you just done so much development, man, that it's just like, I'm sure everyone's just getting a nice taste of this. But yeah, you touched on the inner family circle and how that culture has changed and how that expands out to the community. Teaching parents how to parent and how children how to be children it's I don't know why we got to do that, but it's society. No, it's real, man.
Absolutely.
And I think a lot of it has to do with their parents not having a purpose or them, not feeling engaged or valued. So it's like, now I have this extra liability. Sometimes some parents may feel it's like, no, this is the most greatest gift you ever had in the world, and I know some people may, not be necessarily have the wherewithal or the money to take care of them, but God blessed you with these children for a reason.
Absolutely.
And there's a reason why they're coming out of that. So I think for one thing I've learned, and just even, the way you touched my life, and some people that actually ended up working for Find Your ID, people always have said that you were that person to them. Like he said, he really didn't have a father and stuff. So it's a lot of that is there. You are that person for them to kind of come to talk to sometimes, even outside of their own parents. So, just shout out to all the stuff you're doing.
Yeah, to God be the glory, man.
Man. I was gonna ask one question about something you said earlier too. You said your dad had given you the gun to put it up, right?
Absolutely.
So you were saying that was a negative or a positive? Because I felt like he trusted you enough to handle what to do with it. You get what I'm saying? Over time.
It was a super negative.
Super negative.
It was super irresponsible.
Yeah, I got you.
Let's look at it for what it is. Number one, I can remember the gun clear as day, man. It was a revolver, tape on the handle, tape on the trigger.
Right.
And just imagine the gun going off.
Right, I see what you're saying. Yeah.
It was super negative. And it was because of where he was at mentally at that point in time.
I understand.
Yeah.
What I was gonna say was, you go.
No,
you go. No, I was gonna say that because I'm a big proponent of, because this kind of goes back to the mindsets. I think there's a balance between the two. I don't want to go too far the other side. You have been so far on the other side that it's okay to kind of whatever. Like you said, I'm crying every day now. Whatever. But I think because you're catching it so early before the trauma, I don't want to. This is my own issue as a Black male, but like I wouldn't want to raise children that are weak as well. This is something that Black males always come up with. So I'm saying the balance of creating that warrior mentality and being able to cry is something that you've been able to achieve very well. So I'm curious to see, like, maybe, because my dad often says stuff about teaching people military training, or like some of us just have very little discipline because of, military or whatever. But it's got me to a point of like, I wonder if we were trained like we used to be trained, like, culturally, but, would that be a thing? Would gun violence be a thing if we all know how to use guns?
But where you going? Now that's a positive. He didn't sit me down and say, this is a gun.
Right. Like what's the movie?
This is the safety of a gun.
Yeah, exactly.
Never do this with this gun.
Right. I see what you mean. I see what you mean.
Later on in life, I met a guy in my walk in life who sat me down and taught me how to clean a gun, take it apart,
right,
all these different things.
I see.
That's the part of training you're talking about. That's
what I'm saying.
A father passes to a son and understand that he's in a place to be responsible with it.
Mm-hmm. Right? You got to protect your family and all that stuff,
Yeah, so that's a whole. What my father did was not that I changed the whole reality. I know it was wrong. It ain't like I had a story like, yo, when I was young, I was 11. My father came home, he had the gun. He said, yo, son, sit here. I'm going to show you how this works.
Right.
You got to be able to protect your family at all times. This is what a gun does. This is how, I didn't get that.
You get that. Okay, I'm misinterpreting. So he about to lay down in the bed. He's like, here, man, can I go to sleep? It was one of those.
And the thing also, we have to be mindful, you touched on it too, the balance, right? If we want to strengthen our youth, strengthen our young men, I look at it as two ways to strengthen them, right? You have to give them a sense of something greater than themselves, right? In my particular case, it's God, right?
Okay.
And then you have to give them the information, right, that they can utilize in their life and apply it when necessary. So you give them the information and you give them something greater than themselves to move forward in. With me as a believer, as a Christian, I'm going to give them, I'm going to present God to them. And I'm not going to present it by saying, look, this is a scripture. I need you to read this. No, I'm going to present it in my life. I want to display it. I want the scriptures to be read in my actions, right? That's how I want them to say, you know what? I remember things were rough. And I remember my father, he went into prayer. I remember my father said, you know what? God got us. We're going to be led. We're going to move forward. And he went and did things and to put things, in God's hands, and things happened. I remember seeing my father reading the scriptures, and, I remember, like, those are things how we have to strengthen our youth.
I see.
You know what I mean? Give them the information that they're not getting. Teach them how to do certain things. And that's why this is so important to me. See, with the hard truth, like even with the clothing line, we're teaching them how to do the embroidery. We're not just getting the clothes, we're teaching them how to go get the clothes. Like, we're teaching them how to be self-sufficient and do everything they need to do with whatever it is they want to do. Whatever it is. So a young person come to me and tell me, listen, man, I want to make paper planes and I want to sell them. We're going to sit down and say, okay, what kind of planes you want to make? If you came up with any names, how can we help you? Like, and we're going to work with them. That's building them up. It's the same concept that we always hear. If you give a man a fish, he eat for a day. You teach him how to fish, he never go hungry. So this is the concept behind what we're trying to do. I want to be able to work myself out of the equation, and now they're running their business.
Oh God, yes, I see what you're saying. Yeah, that's awesome. I mean, I guess we're at our 45. How do people get involved in stuff? Like, is that something that you kind of get scouted, or is there something they can submit to you?
So what we're doing now, we're working on some more parts of the website, so people can actually go on there and reach out. So first of all, it's
awesome. Definitely check it out, guys.
The video is my three partners, Kenny H and my guy ACO. So we actually we're trying to utilize it firsthand, the young people that we see, not just the troubled ones, not just the at-risk, but also the high-risk. So the at-risk to us is the ones that's already involved. We're trying to grab as many of them we can in the neighboring projects, right, and work with them. And then we have the high risk is the ones that's involved. The at risk is the one that's not getting in trouble, but they're walking in and out the building, seeing all this all the time, and the temptation keeps coming. And one day, if we don't help them, they might go ahead and say, "You know what? I'm gonna try it." Right? I always use the example where it's that guy that stopped going to school. He wasn't that smart in school, but he got introduced into the streets, and he's on the corner. He's making a whole lot of money.
Yeah.
Now you got the A student that passes him every day. And the A student is saying, this guy's not even as smart as me.
Right.
If he's making all that money, I know I can make a killing.
Right.
And they're tempted into going into that world, right?
Right.
So a lot of those things happen. So we're trying to intercept those type of things and work
Right.
with both sides. You know, so to answer your question, we're handpicking a lot of them now.
That's awesome.
Our
Yeah.
vision is this: we're trying to present, get to a place where we can have a reality show, because we want this to spread, and that's why the video is like it is, because we're working on trying to produce a pilot, because we want this to be duplicated, right? The same thing we're doing here. We want somebody to pick it up in Chicago, in LA, right? We create a blueprint not just for ourselves. What good is that? But if we create a blueprint and we show it that is working and successful, and we take it and say, you duplicate it over there. Call it what you want. It don't have to be the hard truth. Whatever you need it to be,
Whatever it is,
that
right? Yeah.
they're getting what they need over there. That's the key. So we're trying to create this blueprint, get it out there to as many people that can see it and be inspired to do something either similar or do something, period. Right? We can't do everything, right? But everybody can do something.
Yes.
And that's the key.
Yes. That's awesome. We all have our part to do in this. I think somebody said, God bless you, brothers, Ruth Smith. Awesome. Yeah, man. Doing some phenomenal stuff. Yeah, that's my thing. You know, eventually, you know, we get these grants, we start moving, and it'd be hard to catch you at that point. But it's already hard to catch you because of all the stuff you did. And we didn't even touch on everything within this hour, but you know, because Kwame has done some cool accolades. Like, he does a lot of motivational speaking and some other stuff. Like, didn't you get interviewed by some cool people a year ago or so?
Yeah,
I forgot.
They couple of acknowledgments and awards with a lot of the elected officials. Ruben Diaz was a friend of mine, the Bronx Borough president, senators, and you know, it's good when they acknowledge the work. But my thing is, I don't want you to acknowledge the work without putting something behind it.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
You know, you can acknowledge me from a day, but what I want to do is going to help the community far beyond this. So that's where I'm at with it. You know, a lot of times people been asking me to run for office on a local level. My thing is, I just need you to pick up the phone when I call, you know, and be able to get things done. I'm also a community partner with the NYPD. I'm clergy for the 43rd precinct, and I mentor the rookie officers that come into the precinct before they go out into the community. So I work with what they call the NCOs, neighborhood coordinator officers. Now they have YCOs, youth coordinator officers, and kind of like bridge them, the police and community. So that's one of the hats that I wear, that I've been blessed to be able to be a part of it. I'm the part of the clergy council here in our community, getting all the different clergy together to find ways to help out the community, you know, getting them outside of the church. You know, you're on there Sunday preaching. I need you out here Monday through Saturday. I need you in these streets, getting it done. You know, so I'm part of that clergy council. You know, just really trying to be led by God the best way I can to utilize my time here. You know, I'm grateful to be here, 50 years old. I never thought I would make it to be this age. When I was younger, we didn't think we would even see 20. So for God to bless me to be here at 50, I just, you know, I wake up grateful, just saying, okay, God, here I am. What can I do for you? How are you going to use me today? Because I understand life is really that precious. The late Miles Monroe, since we talk about Black history, he said something that hit me very important. He said the wealthiest place in the world is the graveyard. And that blew my mind.
Wow.
He said the
Why's
graveyard.
that?
He said because so many dreams have been buried there, so many unsung songs, so many cures to diseases. There's so much potential buried. And when I heard that, I said, wow. He also said when we leave here, we should leave here empty. Like what comes in, we should be spreading it. So those are two of the things I govern my life with. Like, I want to make sure when I go to the grave, I deprive the grave of every value of me. I want it all to be here. Right? I don't want to take anything to my grave. I want to be able to share it, give it, live it. So that's where I'm at. So to be here and be present, and that's something one of my guys, Nigel, one of the owners for Juice for Life, he always says when I see him, he said, you know, I say, praise him, how's it going? He said, we present. And it's stuck with me. We're present. And presence mean more than just being there, but really being present in the moment, which I haven't been in years. Like, I'm learning to be present. right?
Right.
You see somebody go to a sports event, camera, they're not present. Right? They plan on being present later from whatever they record. So
Right,
it's being
right.
present. And the other thing he stuck with me is that we are all created on purpose with a purpose. You know, and that stuck with me. And I share that with young people. You're special. You know, God didn't make a mistake when he made you. You were uniquely made for a reason. Find that gift, find that passion, and pour into it. Put the work in and watch what comes out of it. So that's where I'm at with it, man.
Amazing, man. Amazing. Shout out. We got some good notes from Miss Ruth Smith. She's just really just loving everything you said, for sure. But yeah, man. So I also shout out to your daughters as well for Black History Month and all the stuff that they're doing. He's also a phenomenal father. There was a banner there, so we missed some of the names. So I apologize. Anybody that was viewing it, but definitely check out that video. I think it's public, right? It's on The Hard Truth.
Well, we get ready to put it out. I just sent it to you.
Oh, it's not public yet. Okay.
We actually have to do some more voiceovers, but I just wanted to share it.
Yeah,
man. It will be public real soon.
Okay. Hey, man, this has been phenomenal.
And one more thing real quick I want to share.
Yeah,
I'm really proud of this, man. I want to encourage somebody. I dropped out of school in 11th grade. I just received my diploma. I'm excited about that. At 50 years old, in the pandemic, I sat still, studied, and got it done. I'm a few credits away from my associates in theology, so it's not too late. Get up, get out, get to it, get it done. And we're opening up a juice bar. One of my brothers, KT, we opened up a juice bar called Truth Juice. Just to give our community some more healthy options. So I'll update y'all on that when we open up and launch that. It'll be real soon. We was aiming for March 1st, but we got to push it back a little bit. So I'll be updating you all that information, man. And thank you guys, man. This has been a blessing. I'm honored. I'm humble. And I wish y'all the best with what y'all doing. Felt great. The energy is good. Caleb said we can take them. I don't care about them Giants. We'll take them, and y'all taking them. We're taking them Giants right now.
Awesome, man.
Joshua.
Yeah, right.
Joshua Tarik.
Hey, man, that's the way we're doing this. Yeah, we're going to the promised land, all right. You know
that's
that.
Right.
You know, what was I gonna say? Yeah, man. Is there any other way for anybody to contact you, reach out to you, and like any of that type of stuff? I know you got tons of those. Yeah, there you go. Social media there. You know, tons of work on your plate already. But I don't know, anybody that may watch this in the future, they may not be live right now, but they may be interested in this, or maybe dealing with some sort of gun violence, and they don't know how to talk to anybody. So this is a great resource, everybody. So yeah, you know, I could keep talking to you, you know that, but I don't want to hold you up. I know you already did a whole hour with us. But yeah, man, it's inspiring me. I hope it's inspiring Caleb too. You know, we got a lot of work to do. Remember, Caleb? I always tell you, like, we got stuff to do, man. You know, no matter what, you know. And when we have people like you on the show, it just puts all these things in perspective. Like, I think the last episodes we had were like on climate change. One of my favorite ones was this brother from India who's like, his service was so bad and all this other stuff was going on, but the stuff that he was saying, man, was just insane. And then I looked on the news and I saw all these people protesting in India, and he was like one of the first people to even say anything. You know, talk about that Joshua type of mentality. Like, he was like, I'm going to say something. I'm going to tell him. And he's been doing it for like 3 years. And now there's a group of people that do it. So, you know, pioneers in their own right. I mean, even what we're doing with this, like I said, I'm waking up happy to, you know, be here with you all, you know, and that's how I feel great about it. You know, during 2020, I was like, I don't know what I'm doing and what's going on.
When I see it pop up, I'm like, man, you ain't tell me about this.
I know. Honestly, he was one of my first supporters, Caleb.
I'm glad you called me because I was waiting. Like, I'm gonna hit him about this, man.
Right. It's getting a little too far away now, right?
To whom much is given, much is required. There's a responsibility behind it. Y'all doing a great job. Use your platform well, man. Yes, and I pray blessings upon it, that it grows and it reaches the people that it needs to reach. You know, one of my favorite scriptures I leave with you is trust in the Lord with all thy heart. Lean not on our own understanding. In all our ways, acknowledge him, and he will direct our path. We're acknowledging him, and we're looking for direction. Man, the best is yet to come, man.
Indeed, man. Indeed. And anybody you have from Herd or whatever that you want to put on the show, or you want to do another show with them, just to show progress, we'd be super down to do all that. Any partnerships, any stuff that we're working on, man, because I'm realizing the more we work together, the more this whole thing does. So, yeah,
Absolutely.
I won't chat up
and
too much.
Whatever you need from me, I'm here, man. If
Indeed.
somebody that you need,
I might need a juice
to reach out. No, we don't have them juices. We don't have them juices, man. We don't have them juices.
I'm just bobbing.
Yes.
But yeah, man. Yeah, as far as them t-shirts too, we definitely got to get some more merch and stuff, and even talk to you about some of those things.
Absolutely.
But
let me know.
Caleb, how was it? Caleb is speechless. I know how he gets. Like usually he'll come in and be like, yeah, and he'll say like what he feels. He's just like blown away because you really came as a surprise. I don't know if anyone else knows, and we'll have another guest that he said he rescheduled, but they kind of left us hanging in a little bit. I won't name the names and all that stuff. But and Kwame just popped up out of nowhere, right out of prayer, and was like, "Yeah, I got you guys," and I'm happy. I'm happy with the product.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so much. So, yeah. So, Caleb, you wanted to share something for today?
I'll share a little bit. So as most viewers and listeners know, I'm a listener. That's what I do. I listen. And so I wanted to really, during this episode, I really wanted to sit back and I wanted to listen to everything that you two had to say. And I have to say, I truly am blown away. I think I said in the chat a few times, like, this is amazing, because everything I was hearing was just incredible to hear. What you are doing is just wow, and to have you on the show is one of the biggest honors. I don't even know if there are words for, because it really is. I'm so grateful, and even if it was so last minute and so just rushed together, it's the fact that here we are and we had an amazing show, and we were able to learn. I know myself, I was able to learn so many things, and I was able to really. I was able to add, that lens, and I was able to really get things more. And I appreciate you both for that. And I really do. And I appreciate Tarik. I appreciate you every single week for
you do. He actually does.
Me guidance. For showing me guidance.
He does. That's pretty funny. Yeah.
But also for simply always, allowing me to always realize the bigger picture. And I think that right there is huge. And so thank you, Kwame, for coming on to the show, and
thank you for having me, man. This has been great.
Saying everything you said.
It, man.
We're present,
man.
right?
Y'all got me in your first year of this, man. Next year when this thing go boom, come on, man. I'll be looking for y'all now.
This is what I'm saying, man. We might have to have you as a recurring ad or something on this thing,
Definitely.
man. For sure. So we can just keep generating. Yeah, that'd be awesome. We'll get that incorporated.
And you already know I've been hounding you. Another thing, we're gonna do a Hard Truth podcast, and I in mine. I'm like, man, I'm pulling you in, man.
You know what to do. We're all here together, man. We're
this
actually
is dope, man. I love it, man. Great job, guys. I love it.
I appreciate that. Yeah. So my quick question before we end fully. Do you help them build an LLC as well, and all the other business stuff and all that? Wow.
So that is definitely
that's awesome.
That's the goal. So we and my partners are meeting up, and we're trying to put some things in place financially, to put some funds in place, because that is the goal.
Okay. Awesome.
Not just create it, but
say no more.
I got you. Them the importance of it, how to utilize it. So that's definitely the goal.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yeah, and we'll definitely help you with that podcast for sure. But Caleb, this is our hour. You know what to do. Yeah,
I know what to do. Well, it really has been just such an insightful show, and I'm so glad that we were able to do this with all the change of plans and also just everything throughout today. I know today's been busy, I think, for everyone in the world. And so I'm just grateful that we were able to have this show. And so once again, you are listening and watching to the Identity Podcast, presented and brought to you by Find Your ID NYC. Don't forget to go ahead and like us on Facebook and on Instagram at Find Your ID NYC. You can follow us on Twitter, YouTube, TikTok, and Twitch, all at the Identity Podcast. You can check us out. We have a website coming out soon too. Very exciting stuff. Don't forget to go ahead and I lost my train of thought. If you love the Identity Podcast, you can sponsor us. Email us at press@findyouridnyc.com. If you do like us, don't forget to check out the Identity Podcast on all streaming platforms. We're on Spotify, Apple, anything out there. I promise you, the Identity Podcast, we're on there. Don't forget to listen to us every Tuesday on Brick Media and shop Identity Podcast merch on Teespring. That link is in our Instagram bio and also in our other social media bios as well. It really has been such an amazing time. I'm Caleb, one of your co-hosts, along with my fellow and lovely co-host Tarik, and we're so grateful to have been able to do this to celebrate Black History Month and also to just show the importance and recognition of Black history.
Yes. Shout out to all of you. Yeah. And Miss Ruth, who's here. Yes, we do know Rebel. She's awesome.
She is awesome.
Shout out to your daughter as well. But yeah, signing out, guys. Love y'all.
Praise and peace.
All right.